Previously on the Traveling Together Journal, we explored the back roads of western Panama and found fun surf and adventure on our way to the southernmost point of our travels, before crossing the mountains to the Caribbean coast to chase a swell in Bocas del Toro. After a month of adventures in rainy season Panama, we were leaving the port town of Almirante and driving to the Costa Rican border. This was our first northbound border crossing, and even though we had months of travel ahead of us, it felt like we were officially on our way home. It saddened us to think that this chapter in our lives was coming to an end, but it also had us pining for the friends, family, and comforts that awaited our uncertain return to the United States. For something that had such significance to us, the Panama-Costa Rica border was comically understated.
What a weird border. It's so small, and oh man, the people in the immigration office, super cranky this morning. They do not want to be at work.
We found the immigration office behind the electronics and more duty-free shop. There was no line, and the grumpy officials quickly stamped us out of Panama and waved us away. Next, we went to the customs office in the muddy lot where we had parked and closed the temporary import permit for our vehicle. Once again, there was no line, and we were ready to go in record time. After driving through the fumigation tent and showing our completed paperwork to one more official, we were allowed to cross the one-lane bridge over the river and into Costa Rica.
We made it! We did not look out. We got stuck behind like 3 vans of tourists.
The Costa Rican officials were working hard to process the long line of tourists, ourselves included, and it wasn't long before we were granted fresh tourist visas. But the temporary import permit, or TIP, for our vehicle was a different story.
So Matt has to take his passport, we have to find a copy machine, get the stamp that we've entered Costa Rica copied for the TIP. And that's just part of the deal. You can't like get that ahead of time.
And this one's a little funny because they also want us to have car insurance before they'll give us the TIP, which is a little bit weird. So we have to walk into the country, buy the car insurance, walk back to the aduana, and show them that we got the insurance before they'll let us bring the car.
That car insurance shenanigan took like probably an hour.
The rest of it was all pretty quick. I think it was only like 2 hours total.
With our tourist visas and TIP in hand, driving through vehicle fumigation was the last stop before we were free to roam Costa Rica once again. Whitewater rafting the Rio Pecuare was at the top of our to-do list for Costa Rica, so we were headed to the city of Turiabla to find a guide who could take us down this esteemed river. As the weather worsened and the sun began to go down, we decided to find a place to camp, and ended up at this observatory lodge with a view of the city lights down below, and awoke in the morning to views of Volcan Turiabla and the surrounding mountains. It was so pleasant we decided to stay for the afternoon.
Matt, you've been very industrious today. What are you up to?
A bunch of maintenance little projects that I've been putting off. Basically everything's just kind of rusting or molding or breaking apart in some way. So just trying to keep it together.
I called and I think we're gonna go rafting tomorrow, but we can't leave the dog at the rafting place because he has a couple Shar-Peis and he said they're not very nice. We thought to leave him here with this pack of dogs, but the main guy actually took off. So I think we're gonna go into town and probably get an overpriced room, overpriced for our standards, and that'll be where we'll leave Jagger when we go rafting. So hopefully we can find that. We just checked into Hotel El Rio. It's kind of on a river.
/ drainage ditch.
Yeah, it's more like a drainage ditch. Anyways, they let us have the dog. That was the big deciding factor of whether it stayed here or not. Actually, not too expensive. It was 12,000 colones, which is about $20. And they arranged a rafting trip for us. And the car is parked in, looks like a really nice parking, 24-hour security area. We're going whitewater rafting tomorrow. And then we're here one more night. And then we have no idea what we're doing next. As usual.
All right, we're all packed up and we're gonna go raft the Pecuare River.
Wow!
Race van driver.
The Pecuare is a class 4.
I've never been on a class 4. I'm a little bit nervous.
You get a little nervous when you look at them. Some of them will have some pretty good drops, too.
Now you tell me. She didn't even tell me it was a class 4 until last night.
You didn't ask.
So we got an international crew. We got our Chico guides. We got these young bucks from Spain. And then we've got a father and son with us from the Netherlands. And then Amy and I from the United States.
The Rio Pecuare is well known for its whitewater rafting, and with National Geographic ranking it in the top 5 rivers to raft in the world, it's no surprise we weren't the only ones at the put-in. The upper sections of the river have rapids ranked up to Class 5, but we chose to do a single-day trip on the lower section of the river. This is the section of Class 3 and 4 rapids that the Pecuare is most well known for, and at 23 miles long, it sounded like plenty of adrenaline for us for the day. In addition to the exhilarating rapids, the Pecuare rafting experience is highlighted by natural beauty. With most of the river corridor being first-generation rainforest that has never been touched, we were surrounded by an impressive abundance of life.
Look at that ant! It's huge!
In addition to ants, the area is home to sloths, monkeys, otters, toucans, parakeets, and jaguars, just to name a few of the most popular sightings. When our guide wasn't steering us into frothing cauldrons of whitewater, he was showing us some of the wonderful sights along the river, or coaxing us to climb up the rocks on the banks so that we could jump off. And just in case the rapids and rock jumps didn't get our adrenaline going, he stopped off at this old train bridge. But the Spaniards were the only ones from our group that felt the need to follow him up there. You up next, Amy?
No! No way!
The lower section of the Pecuare River is approximately 20 miles long and drops 1,200 feet in elevation and includes 11 rapids ranked at Class 3 or 4. With all of our scenic and thrill-seeking stops along the way, it took us about 4 hours to run this section of the river. Did you have fun, Amy?
I did. Yep, that was good.
Got a little bit cold, a little bit tired, a little bit hungry, but a lot of fun. Those Class 4s are definitely, like, you could tell, another level up from the other stuff that I've done before.
And now we are here at this lodge, changed our clothes, and we're gonna have some lunch. Ah, gracias. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, on the menu, casado. Although that's the first one I've ever seen that didn't have beans in it. Got like a salad, cabbage, cilantro, carrots, cucumber, jalapenos, steamed veggies, and chicken in some sauce. Good morning. We are still in Triabla. And we are, our plan today is to go towards a place called Frog's Heaven. It's supposed to be someone's private little garden, and they have a ton of little tree frogs, like the really cute ones, very colorful ones.
We arrived at Frog's Heaven in the afternoon and met Marley. She was studying ecotourism at university and doing an internship at Frog's Heaven. She didn't normally give tours, but since we had arrived too late for the last tour of the day, she offered to show us around. Between her good English and our bad Spanish, she managed to convey a lot of interesting facts, starting with some of the uses of the plants near the lodge. Then she took us further into the property to look for frogs and other wildlife.
Good morning. I'm being quiet because it's like 5:30 in the morning. We just woke up in front of the Frog Heaven's place. I'm assuming the family is sleeping, so I'm quiet. Today we are headed towards some hot springs. So we're in like the Lake RNL area and driving down this road. There was 20, 30 really fancy looking resorts, all of them with hot springs. Crazy, like looked really nice. We're parked on the side of the road here and there's a little pathway with a yellow gate. He told me like where to go, where the best place is, so we're gonna head there. At Cataratas de Cortes, and we've had an incredibly adventurous day. My hair is still wet from the hot springs. We are probably just going to check this place out. You can camp here, huge, big, empty lot, but the next place on our destination is less than 45 minutes away, and it sounds like nicer camping. So I think we're just going to check the waterfall out and then head on down the road after that. Oh, yeah? You ready to go? Well, we just got into our first official national park in Costa Rica. I didn't think that we could go to the park, but I knew that we could get into this lodge because I had emailed them and asked if dogs were okay. And they said yes. We didn't realize that the lodge is actually in the park, but we're in, which is awesome, and we're here for more hot springs and more waterfalls. All right, we got our home set up for the next little bit. Who knows how long we'll be here. Maybe just one night. maybe for the rest of our lives.
Good morning. Amy and I are going to try to get an early start and head out to the hot springs today. Alright, we made it back. It was a total of 5 miles, so 2.5 miles each way, out and back to the hot springs. It was a really fun hike, nice and shaded almost the whole way, and no big like hills up or down, just nice little rolling hills. We decided that we are going to leave Costa Rica tomorrow. We're crossing into Nicaragua, and so we were just kind of getting ready for a big drive day. Amy was getting some snacks ready, hard boiling some eggs and stuff. I was going through our big paperwork binder. We carry this thing around with us while we're walking around the borders. That way we have as much different documentation and stuff as we could possibly have, since different borders want vehicle registration or a vehicle title or a copy of this or 2 copies of that. That way we have as much as possible, try to make the whole process as fast as possible. So I was just going through and kind of reorganizing it.
So if you want to have any idea of what we've been dealing with lately when it comes to the rainy season, this moment is perfection. I am trapped under the awning. And even under the awning, I'm just getting soaking wet, even though I'm like dead center and it's not windy. It's just that much freaking rain. So Matt and I obviously eventually figured out how to position the awning at a strong angle to deal with this rainy season. Look, there's a river, and not just because of our awning. There's just a river running through the property. This is underneath the awning. It's probably been raining like 6 minutes, maybe 7. We're back here again at the border of Costa Rica. Now that we're leaving, it is the first building that we will hit. It's aduana. So Matt is in there canceling our TIP, the temporary import permit.
From there, we made our way to the immigration office to close our Costa Rican tourist visas. Then we crossed the frontera into Nicaragua. Fortunately, given the weather, they have the immigration, customs, and vehicle insurance offices all in one building. After only 1.5 hours, we were checked out of Costa Rica and into Nicaragua, and back on the road under blue skies. Next time on the Traveling Together Journal, we're back in Nicaragua revisiting some of our favorite beaches. It's as beautiful as we remember, and this time there's some swell in the water.